Hey guys, it's Jessica and I am back with another video today. I am going to share with you guys a peek into what it's like when I get an order for a lot of cards. Recently I got an order for 19 of this same style card through my Etsy shop, and I kind of thought it was a typo at first, like, you want how many? 19? Holy cow. So I got to work figuring out what the most efficient way to recreate this card would be. And I kind of started in the middle with this video because I didn't really have the idea to do a video on it until I had already started. And I was telling my husband, gosh, this takes so long. I wish people really knew like what goes into making cards and making these orders when people order a lot of something. So I figured, hey, why not? I will do a video and you guys can see what goes into making a bulk order of cards. So where I started in the video is that I had already cut and glued together or taped together my little card front pieces. So that was the brown piece, the gray lid, and then the two pieces of coordinating cardstock, and I drew on a gel pen accent for kind of like a highlight of light in the upper left-hand corner of the jar. Then what I had just done was taken the little banner strips. I printed the It's Fall Y'all sentiment on my computer and cut it out with my Cricut. And I cut all of the little banner strips with my Cricut as well. Then I just went ahead and glued those all together using a Zig 2-way glue stick. The jumbo one. I have both sizes and they work both pretty well. The next thing that I did was I cut all of these itty bitty little flowers, and I am just using my multi-medium in the matte finish to adhere just a dot in the center of each of those. I didn't want to have the outside stuck down because I wanted to be able to fold the flowers up and kind of give it a little bit of dimension. So just a dot in the middle was all that I needed. And then you'll notice in this video that there are a few things that are like either out of place or I don't have enough of something, or I don't know, things just didn't quite line up. And that's because sometimes when I cut things with my Cricut, some things rip. So I ended up with less than I needed, or I ended up with extra pieces for some things. So I kind of had to make it all fit together and work. So the next step here is that I'm just applying those little flower images to my tags. And then the next part is that I'm going to attach them with some brads. And I dumped all the brads in one particular color out on my desk, and I think I found like one in the color that I needed. So I skipped videotaping that for the next round, just because I didn't want you to sit there looking at me search through a jillion brads for like the whole video. So this little guy is awesome. I use this to punch a hole exactly where I need it in all of my cards. I love that you can see through to the center so you can see exactly where you're punching. And it's not as big of a hole as if you used a hole puncher. I just really like the control that you get with that. So that's a pretty cool tool. So I just did the same thing with all of those, punched a hole right through it. And that was that. So while that's going, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about kind of what's been going on with me. So I haven't posted a video in a couple of weeks, and I've just been really busy. So nothing crazy has been going on or anything, but I've been really, really busy with a lot of orders, like this card order, for example. And then I did a banner for a friend, and also I've had some custom order tumblers that I was putting vinyl on that I've gotten. And I've had a lot. I had some custom orders for some wedding cards, and there's just been a lot on my plate as far as my Etsy shop goes, and that's pretty uncommon for me. I don't normally see like a ton of traffic all at once on my shop, so it's a little overwhelming, and I had to kind of take a step back to focus on that. And then also it was my little guy's birthday a couple of weeks ago. He turned 4 on July 31st, so his party was the following weekend, the first weekend of August, and I went just a little overboard making decorations and stuff for his party. So I was kind of obsessed and a little involved in that. And what I would like to do is take just a little video with some of the pictures that I took from the party so you guys can kind of see what I did and what I made. I don't know if you guys are interested in that or not, but leave me a comment and let me know if that's something you guys would like seeing, like party decor, banners, things like that. I don't know if that's something you're interested in or just cards. Let me know. Okay, so once I got all my brads tucked through the little holes, I went ahead and applied foam tape, well, foam dots, I guess it's not really tape, foam circles, let's go with that, to the back of each little piece, and I adhered them to my card fronts. Now this part is because I actually ran out of the brads when I was assembling them to begin with. So I went back and I was able to find some that coordinated pretty well. I really liked that polka dot. It kind of reminded me of sunflowers. So I don't know, I went with that. But anyway, so the next thing that I did was I just took these foam circles from Recollections and I adhered them to my the back of my panels, my little flags, and that allowed me to get some dimension on my card. I tend to use up every little bit of this stuff that I can. So you can see that I took the circles out of that foam sheet that they come on, and then I actually cut up and use all of that foam sheet as well. It works really good for when you need strips of foam tape or foam dimension. And I also cut them in half. So like I'll cut each circle so that it's basically a square with a circle cut out of it, if that makes sense. And then I cut that in half, so I have these like little angle pieces, and it's really great for getting in tight corners and just using to support in different areas. So that's pretty cool. I really like the way that I'm able to get more use out of it than just the circles. If you guys watch my channel, you hear me mention a lot that I'm a pretty frugal crafter, and I don't know, I don't really have very big of a budget for buying supplies generally, so I try to get the most out of the materials that I can, and that kind of works for me. If you don't feel like doing this, don't bother, but I do. So as far as mass producing a card goes, it can get very tedious. I'm not gonna lie, this was not super fun just because it was so repetitive. My hands were cramping from doing the same things over and over and over again, and it just gets to be a lot when you're doing the same thing repeatedly, but it's kind of neat to see what you can do and how you can like be the most efficient. It's kind of like a game for me almost, like what can I do to make this the most streamlined, and I kind of tweak things, and I learn from it every time that I do an order. And I honestly find that a lot of times I'm like, man, I should have charged a lot more money for this. So if you're thinking about doing cards or you already sell cards, I guess my biggest tip for you would be not to undervalue your work, because this is a lot of time. Every time that you guys see that I have this sped up, so at the beginning, I show you what I'm doing in real time, and then I speed it up. The parts that are speeded up are at 10 times the speed that I actually did it at. So if that gives you any frame of reference for how long this really did take, I don't know, just don't undervalue your work. You are worth the money. Okay, so the next thing that I did was I went ahead and cut, using my Cricut, of course, these mason jar card bases. So they're shaped the same way. And what I'm doing here, I probably look like a crazy person, but what I was doing is making sure that my card front lined up perfectly with my card base, because they are actually not identical on both sides. I found this out the hard way after I started attaching some things, and they really did not line up. There were like pieces poking out that shouldn't have been visible, and I realized that they were not symmetrical. So I was trying to figure out before I got started which side was the right side to put the card front on before I folded. And then I went ahead and flipped them over, And you will get to see my super sweet self-inking stamp that I stamped the back of all of my cards with. So I got this from Vistaprint like 3 years ago when I very first opened my little store on Etsy. And I've been using it ever since, and it has not run out of ink. And I have sold like 650 cards, and it hasn't run out of ink. So if that tells you anything, that ink lasts for like forever. Okay, so then the next thing that I did was I went ahead and grabbed my tape gun. You can see it there. It's the ATG 714 from Scotch. This thing is a lifesaver. It saves me so much time. I used to really struggle with gluing and all that, and or like even with the little tape runners. This is just so much more efficient. It's so much easier to use. I just get so much less frustrated, except when it's time for me to change the tape, which you will see in this video. It's really, really painful to watch. I am not very good at it. I have to like watch a YouTube video every time that I need to change the tape because I forget how to do it every single time. But you can see I'm just putting some adhesive onto my card front and then adhering on my card base and then adhering my card front to that. Nothing fancy, just doing each one individually so that I can get all 19 done and ready to go. This took a while. It took a while. This step for tying these little ribbon things may have taken the longest, but I'm not sure. So I just have my little roll of twine. And then I am tying it around the inside of the neck of the jar. And then I just did like a double knot, nothing fancy, no ribbons, none of that, no bows. I mean, I just tie a knot, get it nice and tight. I don't want to like bend my paper or anything, but I want it to be nice and secure. I don't want it flopping around. And then I just trim off the excess around the edges there so that I have a cute little twine, I don't know, wrapping for it. I don't know. I thought it looked really cute. And then it does show on the inside of the card, just so, I mean, I'm sure you saw that on the video earlier, but you can see it when you open the card, and I'm okay with that. Sometimes I really don't like it when things show up on the inside of the card. I want it to be clean on the inside, but in this case I was like, who cares? That's how the original card was anyway, the one that they had requested the custom order from. So I'm happy with that. Okay, so super crazy speed tying going on right now. And I did make a couple mistakes. There were a couple that I had to start over on, which was a bummer. But I'd rather have a good finished product than just have the least amount of work, I guess, if that makes sense. I am really a perfectionist, and I struggle with things when they're not perfect or they don't turn out exactly how I want them to, which you guys know if you watch my channel that I'm always talking about that. Like, this did not turn out exactly how I wanted, but I'm trying to get better about being okay with that. And I don't know, being a perfectionist is hard when you're a card maker because there's just so much that can go wrong. It's a lot. Okay, and there's my super, magic. I was trying to be super creative and fancy with my video skills, but my video skills are not that great, you guys. So what I was showing there is just the giant stack of paper that I was going to use to cut out my envelope pattern with. And then I did go ahead and cut those out and then showed you all of the envelope patterns sitting there as well. I got that idea from all those cooking videos that you see where they like, there's like an onion on the screen and then they snap their fingers and then all of a sudden the onion is chopped into little itty bitty pieces. Theirs is way cooler than mine, but don't judge me. Okay, so again here, I just fold on all of my scored lines and use my tape gun to like glue it together, basically tape it together. I leave the top open, of course, so that they can slide their card in. And then I've had a lot of people ask, like, how do you close your envelopes? Because if someone else is going to be using it, you can't really seal it for them. You can't put the card inside and seal the envelope. So how do you close your envelope? And my answer to that is that I created my own little envelope stickers. They're just little circles on sticker paper that I cut with my logo. And here you can see me going to town changing my tape. It's just so painful. But anyway, so I include one of those little stickers with each card that I send, so that the people who receive them can write their message on the inside and then close their envelope. There you can see my little stickers that I cut out. So I just print them with my like my home printer, and then I have my Cricut cut out the little circles for me. Saves me a lot of time. Then I don't have to like punch them out myself or anything. So this is for the interior of the cards. So I am using ripe persimmon distress ink just to like super sloppily go around the inside. I wanted it to be like rough. I didn't want it to be perfect. I just kind of wanted some color around the outside to match that original card that I had made. So that's what I'm doing there. If you guys have tips, by the way, on envelope sealer, I know that there are recipes that you can use, like to make your own at home, but I don't really have time for that, if I'm being completely honest. But if there are other solutions that you know of or that you use to seal your cards when you make them, I would love to know. That's something that I would really like to do instead of doing those stickers at some point. So if there's like a product that I'm missing out on, let me know in the comments and I will definitely look into that and try it out. But yeah, so here I just have some more patterned paper that I cut again with my Cricut. And I am just adhering the inked panels to those. And then of course I went ahead and adhered all of those layered panels into the interior of my cards. And that is the very last thing that I had to do. So it was like the home stretch. I was so excited to finally be on the end, or like in the final run. There was a light at the end of the tunnel for finishing this project. And I was trying to meet the deadline of getting them shipped out by the end of the day, like before the post office closed. So I was so like frantic, like, come on, let's go, let's get this finished. And I did make the cutoff, so I was pretty happy about that. But that is it, you guys. That is the whole project. That's what it looks like when you mass produce 19 of one card design. Let me know what you guys think. Is this something that you guys are interested in? Do you like to make a lot of cards that are all the same, or do you prefer to do one of a kind? Every card is its own masterpiece. What do you guys think? Let me know down below. Thanks for watching as always. Be sure to comment, like, or subscribe if you want to see more videos like this, and I'll see you soon.